going to talk about how the secret of manifestation is that you do not attract your desires by what you think, but what you feel. There's been too much mental teachings for me in New Thought. Somehow this whole Dale Carnegie and that whole movement of positive thinking entered into the spiritual community to think that we can think our way to health, that we can think our way to prosperity, or whatever it is that is the desire of our heart to manifest. But this says that you cannot do manifestation through what you think, but what you feel. Everything is vibration, and you attract those things which are in vibrational resonance with your feeling. And the vibration that you want is the vibration of feeling. It is your feelings that are attracting your experiences. Thinking, as far as the human brain, is not really thinking. It is a chemical firing of synapses and things that you've downloaded and memorized. 99% of the time, the thought that you have in the brain is a thought you've had before or someone else has had before. Very seldom is there a true thought born in us that is from the level and the realm of spirit. When it does happen, and it has happened with all of us, that we have that epiphany moment of when thought, divine thought, penetrates human thought. So what this is saying, that manifestation does not come by a mental construct, a mental belief even. If it had, we'd all be in a different place today. How many years have some of you tried to find your manifestations through just mental thought and still are dealing with the absence of those things? So I just thought it was important but simple for us to realize that we must first feel the creation. Faith is a feeling and vibration. You cannot experience faith without the feeling of faith. When you really have faith about something, you feel it. So I can, and I've done, like everybody else, I've tried to mentally think of myself as whole, or think of myself as well when I have a physical challenge or a psychological challenge of some kind. I just try to think differently. I'm not throwing thinking out, but I'm saying if you just have the thought without the feeling, you just have a thought. So instead of thinking, for instance, I am whole, or that I'm well, or I'm healed, what is it like to feel like it if I was whole? Or feel like what it would be if I did not have that pain or that illness or that disease. What would it feel like? What would my life feel like if I didn't have those limitations due to those third dimensional physical issues of the degeneration of 3D? Because everything in 3D heads for degeneration. when we truly change our citizenship to 5D, that will all reverse from degeneration to regeneration. But it begins here in this dimension, and in these third dimensional bodies, we must start not just thinking, but feeling what it is that we want to manifest. I told Tim, I said, really, I feel like the teachings I should be doing on this is not about manifesting, but unmanifesting. We need to unmanifest some stuff that has become a block to what is trying to break through. If we could go out there and just pray away the clouds, the sky would be blue and the sun would shine. So we don't have to pray for the sun to shine. Oh Lord, it's a cloudy day. Oh Lord, let the sun shine. Sun is shining. You're praying for something that already is. But when the clouds, when the atmosphere of the earth, or the area that we're in, changes and takes away the obstacle, then we are feeling the sun on our skin when we walk out. I just want to emphasize more of feeling. There are three main states of vibration that you can resonate at. The lowest is a state of unhappiness. We try to think positive while being unhappy in our life. Doesn't work. Because unhappiness is a feeling. And until we feel differently, think differently, feel differently, and they match, then we are not bringing forth a spiritual opening for the sun to manifest, so to speak. In this state, you feel depressed, overwhelmed, bored, angry, heavy, helpless, and all those kind of things. Your whole world is full of rain and darkness, and that is what you tend to create. You are like someone who is lost in the belief of lack. Even our language, probably tomorrow we may say, well, it was a really dreary day on Sunday, yesterday. There was no sunshine, and we'll talk out of lack. Because we buy into the illusion of the obstacle. We make the obstacle real. You know, clouds aren't even really very real. If you've ever flown up on a plane through the clouds and how solid they look from here, but they're not. Just a bunch of air and water and vapor that you can move right through. But we see it as something solid and tangible. The middle state is monotony. In this state, you operate on automatic pilot. You just do things because you should do them. Repetition is the norm. You're like a robot that is following orders. The world appears to be pretty cloudy and boring when you operate predominantly from this frequency. You tend to create more of the same. People have asked me through the years in teaching energy work and using some of the research that's out there. My reference is Deepak Chopra, things like the liver recreates itself every 6 weeks. Most of parts of our body recreate. Skin creates all the time new. I mean, so much of you is constantly being recreated. Almost every 7 years, everything in you has recreated itself. But somebody says to me, all right, I have cancer of the liver, for instance, but my liver is a new liver in 6 weeks. Why do I have the cancer? Because the cells read the same. That's why. So we come along and say, well, all we have to do is believe. This is one of the worst things, I think, that has been sold to us through religion, is the idea of the concept of a belief system will do it all for you. Again, I'm not putting down belief systems because we all have to have a belief system of some kind. But where are you getting your belief system from is the important place. Just because you read something in a book and believe in it, it does not mean it's going to manifest for you. Not because you hear me or anybody else say something you like and you think, okay, I'm going to believe that because I like that. It's not going to work. Because we tend to believe to try to know. But if we would know and believe, our belief system would take on a completely different vibration and frequency. We're either believing from lack or we're believing from wholeness. Where and what is the source of all? The third thing that is mentioned in this particular writing is the highest state to manifest is joy. The state of joy. At this frequency, you feel fully alive and on it, to the point that your desire is like a fire burning in your soul. And the fire is your passion. Your passion. And your passion as a fire burns away the dross of all of the things that's hindering and blocking. It can't destroy or burn the sacred part of you, the deity part of you, because the deity part of you would be like, say, gold. You can't burn gold, but you put gold in the fire because it burns the impurities of the gold and makes it pure gold. And some of us wonder why we go through the fire sometimes. What an opportunity to burn away some of these old attachments that we have picked up along the way that is in no way serving us. A diamond is the same thing. A diamond in the rough has to be processed through the heat so that the impurities can be burned out. The Bible is clear to say that God is a consuming fire. So being in God doesn't always mean that everything is always rosy and wonderful, but it means going through the fire, the sacred fire of burning away that which we've attached ourselves to that disconnects us from our Christ consciousness. At this frequency, we feel fully alive and on fire. You're excited about everything that comes your way. You're in the flow. Your world is full of sunshine and good cheer. You operate from inspiration and desire. When you operate from this frequently, you're naturally attracting your heart's desire. You can control your feelings with your thoughts. Positive thought and feeling together becomes a high vibration that you can resonate to. Sound. I've told you that as a young man being introduced to the church, I could have cared less about the preaching and the preacher and all that. And wanted to get away. It was boring, but not the music. The music got my attention. Because to hear the preacher, as you're hearing me probably, is with one part of your brain. There's a certain part of the brain for speech, when you hear speech. But when you hear the music, the whole brain hears it. It's a whole different way of filtering sound through you from speech to singing. This is why singing and music is an important part of this gathering when we come together, because it allows us to be more whole-brained and whole-minded, because it crosses those nerves called the corpus callosum that divide the right and the left brain. The yin, the yang, the male, the female, the this and that of our life. Music is mostly where people can meet even these days. Someone who is a starch Republican or a starch extremist liberal seem worlds apart, but I'll guarantee you they can tap their foot to the same music. And they can feel the feeling and the emotion of the same music. And it could be on one of their lists of favorite songs because it crosses all the boundaries. So it makes sense to me for Spirit to use sound and music as a way to restructure this new model that I'm talking to you about, called the kingdom of God on the earth. Again, I want us to be a part of it. No, I can't be that excited when I only see the breakdown part of it. But if I am able through faith to raise my vibration to the vision of that which is, then I retune myself out of the lower atmospheres of my human mind that holds my demons, so to speak. That's what demons are. They are the low carnal thoughts that manifest as fear, anxiety, depression. They are really in our lower astral body. But the thing is, we can do something about it. That's the beautiful thing, is we are not being controlled in here. There's a lot of control going on out here. At least there's never been a time that I've seen a more struggle for control over people as this time. And maybe that's just because I live in this time. But control has been going on for a long time. And I'm going to talk about that real soon, what happened in 1939 with the Rockefellers and all of that, who decided that the greatest thing to bring wars is through sound and music. The reason we're in the shape we are is because of the misuse of sound. And therefore it is our place to use the thing that is divided and conquered to be the thing that heals and unites. But the thing that had to happen, that I think I was in the right place at the right time, I don't know how to say it, 21 years ago, and that was the introduction of ancient frequencies. You see, the frequencies that we know in our music has been very well learned by the brain and by those who control the brain. But when new frequencies that have been not introduced to the brain was introduced to the brain, it began to rearrange the inner pattern of frequencies that had become normalized, that was able to be used. In other words, new frequencies knocked everything off a little bit. First time my brain heard an oot instead of a do. See, in solfeggio, it was a do. It was an oot. UT was the first note of the scale, which stands for, yeah. Wow, I can't believe it. I can't. Thank you. Ut quint laxus. My gosh. I've said that 1,000 times. It's Latin. But we call it UT. Then somebody came along and says, no, we can't have anything in these notes that is a consonant. Everything must be a vowel. Only vowels are spiritual, consonants are not. So ut ending in a T is a consonant, which changed to do, a vowel. And then doe became a deer. And Julie Andrews is in the meadow with the kids. And finally, after hundreds of years, the ut and the other frequencies of the early chants, not only in Latin of Catholicism, but before that, you can find these probably in things such as the Aborigines, Native Americans, and other indigenous people, African, that all who were more in touch with the sounds coming from the earth and from nature had a different way in which they sounded. And as I've told you, this is a thing that broke me from my European white teaching of music, was when I went to the first African American church. Because I said, wait a minute, that's not the way we sing Amazing Grace. It was a whole different, not only rhythm, but it was a different sound. It was using black notes and not just white notes, vowels, verses. And I said, it broke the spell. It broke the spell. Because I got sounds I had not been taught in utero and in the earliest part of my life. My first chakra did not have those sounds in it. So when those sounds came in, it disrupted what I had learned. That's why it's so important for all of you to expose yourself to different cultures and different sound. I just like country music. I just like whatever music. People get really caught into one thing, and that's what they like. It's important that we become multicultural. And that's why one of the reasons we have the diversity of cultures is for the purpose of distributing that onto that culture. We close off an opportunity for something to be made alive in us that remains in the unheard part of ourselves. Looking up here before the and Deborah left us this. Which is an Australian didgeridoo. This is 40,000 years ago, they were using this for healing. They were one of the first cultures that started using sound for healing 40,000 years ago. Now, how does that sound to your third dimensional? All these things up here. My goodness, I have sound. I'm sorry. This is our altar of sound. Sounds of different cultures. I play a lot. When I play a lot of more some African American note chords and things like that in my music, because I've combined it with my being raised in the southern country culture. I was able to expand my access to sounds that I was not taught. And I think that has served me for all these years to have a different rapport with time and space through the medium of sound. My time is getting away, isn't it? Sound has always been considered a direct link between humanity and the divine, always. At some point of the ancient mystery schools taught their students to use sound as a creative and healing force. Mystery schools have considered the oldest form of healing was predominantly early teachings of the Greeks, Chinese, East Indians, Tibetans, Egyptians, American Indians, Mayas, and Aztecs. Edgar Cayce, that some of you follow some of his writings and read his books, said, "Sound will be the medicine of the future." Sound will be the medicine of the future. We should not be surprised about the healing qualities of sound, such as the human voice, gongs, didgeridoo, tuning forks, drums. In a sense, the body absorption of harmonic sounds is similar to the life-giving energy that the body gets from food. When you come here, now we may have a dinner over there, but you're here for food for the soul. That's what this Sunday morning is. It's a time to replenish the soul, to restore the soul, because things have been taken from you through the week. Just life itself in 3D just takes it out of you sometimes, just trying to survive and make it, and planning dinner and what to wear, and all the things that you deal with daily takes it from you. When you come here, this is a time to allow, through sound and speech and through the voice and through the music, a time for the soul to be fed, just as you'll leave here and your body will be hungry and you'll go somewhere and you will give it food. Are you giving food to the soul? Deepak Chopra says the body is held together by sound. The presence of disease indicates that some sounds have gone out of tune. Trust me, some of these things that we diagnose ourselves with, from a headache to depression, is just a part of something that has gone out of tune and is no longer in alignment between the human and the divine. Dr. Gerber, and I'll close with this, Dr. Gerber, who was one of the great influences of my finding the path to sound, long before Soul Energetics and tuning forks, a medical doctor in the Detroit area, back in the early 80s, which was a time that very few medical doctors were stepping out with the kind of information that he was teaching and finally writing about, says in his book, Vibrational Medicine, this is Dr. Gerber, energy disturbances in your etheric body and the acupressure meridian system precedes physical cellular manifestation of illness. I am never fully fulfilled by going to an all-natural doctor any more than I am an all-medical doctor. They both lack something. And I do both. My tendency is to find a good, holistic, functional doctor who deals not with always putting prescriptions in your way, but dealing with other things. But they never go quite far enough for me, because I've never found where there are people that is beginning to find out the deep causes of illness. We just take it for granted. If we hurt in the right shoulder, I'm just getting older. Or the left knee, or the right foot. But there is no randomness in the world of the energy body. We've just allowed things to get to the physical, biological level because of the fact of what has not been taken care of and balanced in the energy body. What am I looking for? I tell you what, I really would like to walk into a doctor sometime and say to me, what's been going on with you? What's been going on the last 6 months, a year? Have you lost someone? Is there grief? Have you gone through divorce? Have you been really depressed and discouraged? And that's where they need to start, is what are the seeds of illness that have been planted in the etheric blueprint? Because we still have a tendency of, I'm broken, fix me. And I feel the same way. Lately, what I've been through in the last 2 months, I'd have gone to anybody, anything, and took anything and any whatever, because pain knocked me out consciously. I forgot. I've got tuning forks. I walk by them every day. Maybe it's Barbara, I don't know, but somebody said, hey, isn't that a tuning fork? Yeah. That's being knocked out consciously. Because I know better. I know where things are coming from and where I should start. But the pain becomes the driving force of reaction. So this isn't new. I've talked about this. This is who and what we are. But I don't want us to forget and to be continuously reminded of the power of energy, vibration, sound, and color itself. Look at the color of what you are wearing today. You think you went to your closet and you just grabbed something? I doubt it. At some level, I think you got the exact color of clothes that you needed for today. Kathy has yellow. That means at some level in her subconscious, she is seeking wisdom.
Always.
Blue is a heavenly color. It is the color of speech and speak your truth today. And on. I could go. I wear these colors because I like them, I think, but I'm attracted to them. I'm attracted to them. So sound, the power of sound is so important to us. Again, I'm saying this because I don't want us to come and just, as talented as these guys are and all of this, they're not here just to entertain you. This is not a concert per se, but they are bringing us sound and music to repattern and therefore to bring healing and wholeness into manifestation. Hope that makes some sense to you. I didn't want to get heavy today. I've been so heavy lately that I'm probably wearing some of your brains out. But just to be reminded of sound, the power of sound, the power of vibration. Let us pray. Yes. Holy Spirit, we thank you today. Just let something at least, one thing or more that is said today to just remind us to be more conscious and aware of the sounds around us. Listening to sad music is just going to feed the sadness. Whereas we listen to music of joy, it resonates the joy in us. Peaceful, calm, meditating music brings out the calm of the soul. Today, help us to feel our visions for manifestation. And I'm going to ask you to just take a few seconds to bring something up in your life that you would like to see transformed and changed. And as it moves through your thoughts, let it move to what it would feel like if that was completely taken care of and manifested differently in your life. And now with grateful hearts, knowing that it's going to be done on earth just as it is in heaven, we feel the gratitude and thankfulness that it is done. When we say it is done here, we mean it is done. So be it.